You guys, welcome to another episode of WoW. I'm so excited. I love this program. I love seeing all of your cute faces. So if you're not on camera, please, as an energetic exchange, go ahead and turn on your video. It's not a requirement, but it's preferred. And that is just because your cute face adds so much value to the energy and frequency of the group. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Tracy. Is anybody brand new to WoW today? Never been here before? No? Everybody's been here. Okay. Oh, Paul? I can't hear you. You're muted.
I think I have. I think I'm new, but I don't know what I've attended in the past. Anyways, I thought I'd say I'm new. Okay.
Well, welcome.
Yes.
We're happy to see you.
Yeah. Thank
Your
you.
cute little face.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off WhatsApp so it doesn't interfere with us. So there we go. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Tracy, and I have a co-host, Dr. Gloria. And our goal here with WoW is to provide resources for you to develop healthy habits, because we know that this awesome device right here does great things for our body, right? But we also know, based on testing, that when we create healthy habits in our life, it supports the QT wave. Okay. So that's the goal, is to help you, layer these healthy habits so that they become rituals and things that you do just without even thinking about it, like second nature. And my focus has always been, since I've been a health coach, to be helping you age stronger and healthier instead of sicker and weaker. And there's so many components to wellness. It's not just about the food on your plate or the way you move. We're talking socialization practices, breath work, mind, body, spirit. I know that that's kind of a cliche, but it's so accurate. And today we have a special guest that's going to be talking about that. So I love learning from all of you guys as well, because you all are a piece of this beautiful puzzle here at QHS, and you all have a gift to share. And so I want to honor you and thank you for being a part of it, for being here with us today. And I'm really looking forward to the presentation that we have today. So one of the things I do like to start with, though, is homework. Okay. And how you've taken these principles. But last week, Dr. Gloria shared a lot about oil.
Okay, I downloaded the information that Dr. G provided for us in her research, the smoke point, and right away I took EVOO out. It's off out of my kitchen for cooking, because from the information that she provided, I go to great extremes to get the freshest produce, eggs, meat, everything, and make better choices. So I'm going to all that trouble, and by using the wrong oil, I'm just contaminating the entire family and making her condition worse. So I
Raj, you're
substituted
so
it with
well.
avocado.
Right.
From that very next day, I started right away. And, I just I feel so much better. I just thought I'd let you know. I'll, keep you posted, but I wanted to
Well,
share.
and Raj, let me comment on, somebody's got background going on because it's echoing.
I'm trying to figure out who it is.
Me too.
Something is okay.
Mute us all.
I don't want anybody to get the impression that olive oil isn't good, because that's not true. It's extremely healthy if you get a good quality, right, Tracy? If you get a good quality olive oil.
One sec, I'm
very
muting
healthy.
everybody, and you two can unmute just so we can lose the echo. Okay, so Gloria and Raj, you have to unmute.
Okay,
Sorry.
I unmuted.
Okay, that's okay. So
Hi, Barbie.
don't get the impression that it's not good. What you have to understand is, that's why I did that chart. It's when it's at a high heat. It's not meant to be at a high heat.
Well,
in Italy, when they make pasta and all that, they toss it with olive oil. They don't cook it in olive oil.
Right.
They don't put it in when it's hot. They don't give you garlic bread that they put olive oil on. They put the olive oil and the balsamic vinegar separate. So don't get the impression that olive oil isn't good. But what Raj said is so true. You can spend money and time and energy buying the best food and then ruin it all by having a high heat cooking temperature with an oil that can't take it. That'll become carcinogenic or toxic when it gets hot. So thank you for that, Raj.
But last week, Dr. Gloria shared a lot about oils. And I chimed in because I've done a lot of research on fat and how the 7-country study was so flawed, but it is what actually started to demonize fat in our country. And so I was looking for a resource last week that I couldn't find, but I found it. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you guys right now. But first, I want to say in 1980, the US ranked 11th in longevity. Today, we are 47th. That is crazy. 47th in just over 40 years from 11th. So every 34 seconds, somebody in the US dies from heart disease. And Americans have the poorest health in the industrial world, despite spending the most per capita on healthcare. People are just popping pills for symptoms instead of looking at the root cause. That's what I love working with naturopaths, because they're all about root causes. And so I want to show you guys that obesity map that I was sharing with you last week. Let me go ahead and find it here and share the screen. Okay, Zoom, share screen. Okay, here we go. Check this out. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through this. So you can see here that back in 1985, the US was between 0 obesity and 14%. Okay. And then it started climbing because we started demonizing fat. And in order to replace the flavor from the fat, they added sugar. And so everything was fat-free, but we had sugar. So like think Entenmann's, Snackwell's, fat-free cheese, fat-free mayo, fat-free salad dressing, all of it had sugar. So look at this map and how the color started changing and getting darker. See here? So many more are actually blue now. And we just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And now they have to add another category, because now some states have between 15% and 19% obesity. And it just keeps growing and growing. And now we're going to be adding another category here. So it's going to be it's coming over 20%. All right. So that's pretty much shows you guys what I'm looking at here. But what I wanted to share with you is that we falsely demonized fat, and I don't want anyone to leave here. Oh, and something else I'm going to cover quickly is that, remember when I was covering the diets and the different like eating plans that people can follow and saying, go ahead and test it on your body and see what works for you. So I wanted to do deeper research on things that people were asking me about. So I ordered the book, the blood type diet. And I'm very transparent. So some of you like what I say and some of you aren't, but I don't want you to be triggered by anything ever here. Because remember, we don't judge. So, but what I would like to say is that the author had in my blood type, which is type O, I was just looking through the recipes and stuff, and he recommended cooking with canola oil. Huh. So since we know about canola oil, and this author is actually recommending I cook with it, I had to fire him just like I fired a doctor for drinking Diet Coke. Okay, you're out of here. So that to me, it's like Bon Appetit. I was so annoyed with them for, saying cook with canola oil. Even my 28-year-old son knows about these types of oils. So, okay, I'm off my rant. So
well, let me put a little rant in on my own, because you're so correct.
Okay.
So many of you asked questions that I purposely did not answer, and I want you to know why. It's exactly what Tracy just said. Dr. Gloria, should we do on the blood type diet? And my answer, and only answer I gave, was listen to your body and understand what you're putting in it. Because I've been told I'm 2 different blood types. One when I was in the hospital for my accident, and one when I had a physical years later. So even if I knew exactly which one, which I'm not sure, I think I'm an O as well. The point is that I knew the doctor that wrote that book. I lectured on the same stage with him. And so when people said, well, should I follow it? I can't give an honest answer, because my answer, if I was going to be honest on a blog, would be no, for the reason that Tracy just said and many others. So you can't just read something or read a diet and say, oh, this doctor says it's great. No. If you spend hours going down the rabbit hole, like I have to be able to get research, you'll realize that what Tracy does is connect the pieces of the puzzle. And that's one big thing of many that I love about Tracy. She doesn't just take the word for it. She ordered the book and you sent it back, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're sending the book back. Yeah. I mean, she said to me the other day, I'm sending it back. Did you know that? And I said, yeah, I did know that. But I just zipped up when somebody asked. So understand that sometimes when I don't answer, it's because there's a reason, and I don't want to give medical advice. We don't give medical advice. And I also don't want to give an opinion that I know is not something that I believe in. And that's why, not because I don't want to answer you, but that's a reason I don't continue that conversation going. So, okay, Tracy, take it over.
Well, I don't have any professional connections to anyone other than QHS. So I'll say what I want to protect you. Okay. Now, that said, that actual diet, those principles may feel good in your body. And if that's the case, then keep doing it. Do what feels good in your body. So I tried carnivore for, what is it? Today is the 11th. So I tried carnivore for 10 days or whatever. I've gained 2 pounds. So guess what? I'm done. I'm going back to the way I was eating before, because clearly what I was doing was working for my body. So we're all unique, we're all individual. And somebody had said, Christine told me that somebody was under the impression that WoW recommended you all eat a certain way. And I think those of you who are regular attendees know that that has never been the case. I might have said to you how I eat, but I don't recommend everyone eats like me. Okay. So it's all bio individual. So with that said, I want to go ahead and introduce our speaker. So today we are blessed to have a member that I'm going to be interviewing. Her name is Dr. Janet Wesley. And Dr. Janet is a homeopath and a naturopath, just like Dr. Gloria. She's also trained in TCM. I think that's supposed to say TCM, and Ayurveda. And she is also a hypnotist. That's the right word. And she wrote a book called Guilty Prayers. And today she's going to talk all about connecting with your higher self. So can you all join me in welcoming Dr. Janet to WoW? Woo! Round of applause. Hey, Dr. Janet, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you. Just to segue back a little bit to your comment on fat, I've been in the medical field for 51 years. And when they started that demonizing fat and telling everybody to eat margarine, that's when your heart disease rate went up. And margarine is only literally 1 molecule away from being plastic. So we have, like you said, we have to research. You have to read labels. Our diabetic patients years ago, when Bacon Shake came out, all of a sudden their blood sugars were shooting up. They were using it to bake their chicken, but it had a lot of sugar in it. They didn't read the labels. So yeah, I agree with everything you've said, you know.
Yeah, margarine, I mean, it's just hydrogenated oils. And we talked about this last week, actually, is hydrogenated oils. The city of New York eliminated them from their restaurants and calculated that they would save as many lives, like comparison to the amount of people who die in traffic accidents. So one simple tweak can save lives, and that goes for all of us. So Dr. Janet, when did you decide you wanted to become a doctor?
My background is that as soon as I graduated from high school, I went to LPN school. And I got my associate in science in nursing and became an RN. And then in 2006, I decided to get my doctorate in natural health out of self-preservation. I have been given medications in the past that were just temporary, like an antibiotic. I've been into anaphylactic shock twice. And I have a long list of medications that I've had adverse reactions to through the years. I normally do not take any medications at all. I don't like the term alternative medicine. I like the term complementary medicine because we do need Western medicine at times. And yes, my background is, my training is in traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, homeopathy, naturopathy. And yes, I do have many certifications in therapeutic hypnosis, which also, by going through the subconscious and working with the body through that, your body can give you a lot of answers too. You just have to really listen.
That's
But
cool. I want to do that. I've never been hypnotized before. But I do read Dolores Cannon, and that stuff is really fascinating.
yes, I've been trained in past life as well. I had very extensive training. I went to California for 2 weeks, and the classes were 10 hours a day for 2 weeks. And then when I got my certification in past life, it was 12 hours a day for a week, the training. So hypnosis is not just watching a YouTube, and or going to a course. And if anybody ever tells you that they can do hypnosis for you over the phone or over Zoom, run away, because you cannot do proper testing for people to see how far in somnolence they are that way. So you're fully aware of what's going on during the whole hypnosis session. You can't make somebody tell a deep, dark secret that they wouldn't normally tell, and you can't make somebody do something that they wouldn't normally do under hypnosis either.
Oh, that's good. We want to be safe.
Right. And, going back to just this week, I learned that the European Union has approved, and they have lifted the ban on GMOs in Europe. So that's sad to hear that.
Oh, wow. So they have gone more Western.
Exactly.
Oh, darn.
Dr. Janet, this is Dr. Gloria. Thank you for saying that, because I read it and forgot about it. So thank you for bringing that up. But isn't that also part of why the farmers are all protesting? Because now 9 countries have agreed, are all helping them in Germany. It started in Berlin, Wiesbaden, and now it's Austria and Germany and Belgium, and they're all helping them. The streets and the airports and the trains are not operating because they're protesting the fact that they want them to use those chemicals, and because they don't, they won't let them farm. So yes, you're absolutely correct. They're wanting them to go back to what has destroyed our health in the first place.
Well, actually, the farmers
No.
are protesting the cost of diesel going up.
Yep. But also that they don't want them to farm, so many acres. I don't know the extent of it, but they don't want them to farm. I mean, they're trying to cut down on production of food. And if you have GMOs, they can produce more food, and the farmers won't do it. Especially in those countries, they're very much into healthy food. I mean, when I went to Europe, I never got sick. I come back to the States and I get sick. So thank you. Go ahead.
Interesting. So, Dr. Janet, today you're going to talk about our higher self. Why'd you pick that topic?
I picked that topic because I do a lot of teaching with clients with that. Either my clients who are coming to me for the natural health or my hypnosis clients. A lot of my clients with hypnosis right now are true PTSD. I had a woman come up from Tyler, Texas. She had been kidnapped, held hostage for 6 months, and raped every day. I have had a client that her husband was poisoning her and trying to murder her. So part of what I do with these people is teach them how to connect to their higher consciousness. The thing is we all are already connected to our higher consciousness. You're just trying to make it too difficult. You know, there's a lot of information out there on YouTube about connecting to your higher consciousness, and you have to eat this food and you have to meditate a certain way. YouTube, take it as entertainment. Don't take it as fact. You have experts on YouTube. If I had a YouTube channel, I would say, don't believe what I'm telling you. Check your facts. Here they are. So what I want to talk to you about is the best way. You have to start, and this has already been talked about in QHS. You have to be mindful of your self-talk. You know, every time you tell yourself, I'm sick, well, you're going to be sick. Or if I'm sad, you're going to be sad. And you've disconnected from yourself. And then you have people saying, well, you have to meditate a certain way so you can be connected with your higher self, or you're going to miss out on the ascension. Nobody's going to miss out on anything. Everybody evolves at their own pace. So do not compare yourself with anybody else. Your higher self is always talking to you. You have to just pay attention. You know, we're busy during the day and we're distracted, but we have to take the time to sit down and just get quiet.
Right.
You know, we're told that you can only eat a vegetarian diet before you can ascend. None of that is true. You have to use common sense. And then, of course, then you go back to what is common sense. I worked mental health for many years. But
So can we go back a little bit? So how would you define the higher self?
your higher self is your super ego, your higher consciousness. This is what keeps you out of harm's way. This is that little voice whispering to you, or that feeling in your gut that's trying to warn you about something. Or when you hear a certain topic that actually rings true and you feel that surge of happiness or giddiness, this is your higher consciousness. That little voice that says, don't do that, or that voice that says, go for it. This is your higher consciousness. We're always connected to it. We just have been told through eons that we are not connected. We're not connected with God. We're not connected with other people. That's the biggest lie that we've all been told. We are all connected to our Creator, whether you want to use the term God, source, spirit, whatever. The science has even proven the God gene inside our bodies. They have literally found the cross within our genes. So we are connected. So where's the problem? What's the disconnect? The problem is that because we have been told that we are separated, well, we believed the lie. So my recommendation is that just take a moment, close your eyes, take 2 or 3 deep breaths, and ask, what do I need to know in this moment? You know, we have to live in the moment, because the current moment, that's all we have. The past is in the past. It's done, it's over with. And too many people live in the past, and we're trying to base our current moment and our future on the past. We have to let that go. And we have to learn to live in the moment. And when we live mindfully in the moment, then we are better connected with our higher self. And we have to stop listening to other people. You have to stop looking on the outside to find the truth. The truth is within yourself. So when you're trying to be more aware of your higher self, You're going to have self-doubts. Stop giving yourself that negative thought. Believe in what you're hearing from your higher self. And you don't have to meditate for hours at a time. It might be 2 or 3 minutes, but everybody takes time to take a coffee break or a tea break or whatever. We need to take time to get back in touch with ourselves. And like I said, the best way is just to close your eyes, take 2 or 3 breaths, get quiet and ask, what do I need to know in this moment? And you will always, always get the answer.
Yeah.
And
I
you
always
have to
say,
trust.
tell me something I need to know in a way I can understand.
Yes.
That's one of my mantras. So what is the difference between, like you were talking about the higher consciousness, and we've all heard the words subconscious, unconscious, universal conscious. Is there a difference between all of those?
Well, you have your ego, which is what we live in most of the time. That's where most of our self-talk comes from. And our ego thinks that it's in control. Our mind thinks it's in control. It's not. Our heart is where the emotions come from. And this has been scientifically proven. And then our subconscious, this is what goes on in the background. And our conscious mind doesn't want change. So this is what sabotages people when you're trying to break a habit. And so when you're working through your subconscious mind, you are working on that deeper level and you're getting past the gatekeeper of the conscious mind. And what we see when you're working through your subconscious is you're actually getting in tune with the moment. And yes, we have the super conscious and all that, and that's more into psychological aspects through mental health and all, and through Freud and Jung. And so what we really need to know is we just have to get quiet and listen. And it takes practice. But one thing you're going to realize as you get more and more in touch and listening to yourself, listening to your body, number one, you're going to drop all of the doubts that you have about yourself, that you'll find that those are starting to fade away and you're truly listening and trusting in what you're hearing. And then the next thing you're going to find out is that with everything that's going on in the world right now, everything is fear-based. And what people are living from is this fear-based. And actually, that kind of energy comes from conflict energy. And we don't want to live in conflict energy. Right. And as we become more and more aware of the moment and listening to ourselves, we're going to drop that and we're going to find that we have a peace that it doesn't matter what's going on. I'm at peace within myself, and I am more content within myself than I have ever been in my life. Yes, we have wars. We have people who are dying. We have all of this conflict going on. But this is just part of the distraction, and we have to learn to be observers. You can be aware of what's going on in the world, but you don't have to participate in it. You don't have to let it penetrate into your life and destroy your peace of mind. So the first thing I recommend is getting more in touch with your higher self is be aware of your self-talk. If you're giving yourself negative talk, you're going to have to work on that. Make it a practice every single day to give yourself 10 positive aspects about yourself. We all have 10 qualities that we can come up with. focus on those. Yes, we're aware of what's going on in the world, but we also have to realize this is just a pantomime of what's going on behind the scenes. It's the distractions that are trying to keep us enslaved and caught up
That's
in
away. Yeah, keep us away from the truth. And also, it just goes right back to that serenity prayer. You know, I was talking to my son about that just yesterday, is that if there's nothing you can do about something else, focus on the things that you know, the solution that you can do for you. You know, what can you do to make your life better?
right. And as you become more aware of your self-talk, a lot of the monkey chatter stops. And people think that your chakras are supposed to be perfectly lined up. That's not true. If you're in your feminine aspect, which is the contemplating, the planting the seeds, a lot of your chakras are going to be on the left of your body at the time. And when you're in your masculine, which is the get it done aspect, you'll see your chakras on the right. I worked with Tesla Biohealing, and we that company is biophoton energy, and it's based on Teslas. And I had a program to where I could see what was going on energetically within the body. And when people, my clients, would see this, they were just shocked. Oh, my chakras aren't lined up. Well, no, they're not going to be, because it depends on what aspect you're in. Well, it's the same with your higher self. There's a story that really emphasizes this whole thing pretty simply. In the Bible, it talks about on hind's feet, and the hind is the mountain deer, and its tracks on such treacherous landscape that the hind feet have to track true to the front feet. Otherwise, this deer is going to fall off the mountain. Well, we as individuals, once we start tracking true and we have our subconscious and our conscious minds in aligned, we are in perfect harmony with our higher consciousness. And once we start tracking true, we're going to see all sorts of positive, wonderful things manifesting into our lives. You know, just get out of the YouTube. You know, one person on YouTube will say something and then everybody else jumps on the bandwagon. Yeah, it's entertainment and you can get good aspects here and there. But stay in the moment. And as you stay in the moment, you are more connected with your higher self. You are tracking true with yourself by staying in the moment. And the more you stay in the moment, the more you're going to find the peace, the harmony, the tranquility, and the contentment. And if you're having a lot of difficulty doing this, people like Tracy, who are life coaches, people like me who help people with life coaching in health and mental health and physical health and emotional health, we can help people get to where they have reached that higher level. But you know, we really don't have to have somebody else. We just have to remember to stay focused on our inner selves and quit looking to the outer world to tell us what we need to do to reach these levels. Each and every person on the planet of the earth, we all have psychic abilities. We all have mediumship abilities to where we can see into other dimensions, other parallel universes. But because we've been taught that we can't do this, that we're separated, that we need somebody else, we need a mediary in between us and our higher selves. This is what has been the tragedy through the centuries.
Yeah.
And we have just about reached the point worldwide where there are enough people who are awake. When we get to about 30%, which they say we're nearly there, this is when we're going to start seeing a lot of change in the world. When we go to the next dimension, you're not stepping out of this world. That dimension is within you. And your connection with yourself. This is when you reach the higher dimension, the fifth dimension. Yes, not everybody's going to go at the same time, because we go at the level and at the pace that we need to go for our personal selves. Never compare yourself with anyone else. Listen to what your inner voice is saying. And a lot of times you will get confirmations on what you're hearing from your higher self from outside sources. It might be numbers, like you'll see 12-12, 11-11, 10-10. You know, this goes on. Well, you look it up in the angel numbers, you're going to see a pattern going there, and you're going to say, hey, I really am in tune with my higher self. I really am listening to my higher self. And as you become more and more in tune, you're going to see more and more synchronicities. Someone out of random will come up and say, make a statement that confirms what you've been thinking. So think about the hind on the mountain tracking true, their hooves. Track true with yourself. Block out what everybody else is saying. Realize that you are already connected. You don't have to eat certain foods. You don't have to meditate in a certain way. You can, if you want to lay down on the bed and meditate, that's fine. You don't have to sit in the lotus position with your spine locked in. Whatever comfortable position that you can get into, start trusting yourself. Stop listening to other people telling you you can't do it, because each of us have been given that inherent right. And we just have to claim it and take it.
Yeah, this is so true. And you've said some things that we like, practical application. So number one, I heard you say, be here now, be present in the moment, live here. And oftentimes our brain, our monkey mind chatter doesn't allow us to be here into our heart space. And so what recommendations do you have to get to release the chatter?
First off, don't try to block it. That just makes it stronger. Acknowledge it. Just acknowledge that you see it, and then refocus back on the moment. And eventually you'll find that this monkey chatter comes up less and less. But the more you try to fight when this interference comes in, it's going to anchor it in even worse. Acknowledge it, and then go back and say, all right, I'm listening to, I usually say to my mind, all right, it's time to shut up. It's time for the heart to talk. And I'll ask my heart, what do you have to say? But don't try to fight it. Just acknowledge it. And when you acknowledge it, it'll go away and fade out faster.
That's interesting that you said that, because years ago, my Reiki master teacher taught me a technique that I want to share with you guys, which goes right along with Dr. Janet. So essentially what I've learned is our inner child is the brat, and she wants what she wants when she wants it. And then we have the ego that Dr. Janet mentioned, who is like, all that, right? Knows better than you, is just the controller of the vessel. And then we have our inner critic, and all of us ladies know what that's like. It could be our mother, our mother-in-law, or just some crap that we made up within ourselves. But they all have a voice, and they all want to be heard. So if you're in this like space where you're just like either trying to make a decision or shut off those voices, you ask them each what they have to say. So for instance, if I'm trying to decide, let's say I'm trying to decide, oh, should I stick to that carnivore plan? Okay, just pretend. And so I asked my inner child, and she says, I say, inner child, what do you think about this? And she says, oh, no, you need to be able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want it. And I say, okay, thank you. And then I ask my inner ego, should I continue with this carnivore plan? And inner ego says, well, you said you were going to for a whole month, so you better stick with yourself. You know, you said it, you're strong, you got to stick to your gut. And then I ask the inner critic, and the inner critic is like, you know, criticizing me. Well, why would you want to give up? You said you were going to stick to it. So we have the critic, the ego, and the child. And then what we do is we check into our heart space to our inner spirit and say, inner spirit, should I stick with this carnivore plan? And then I say no, because it's making me feel inflamed. And so the inner spirit always wins. The inner spirit, the inner guidance always has your highest purpose in mind. You can call it the Holy Spirit, you can call it whatever you want, but essentially it's us. It's our heart space. It is our divine guidance system. And so then, but because you acknowledged all the others, okay, they can now scoot along, feel heard, and quiet down.
And as you become more attuned with the being in the present moment, all of those other voices are going to shut up and go away.
Perfect.
They will eventually meld into one. But when they do pop up, just acknowledge it and say, okay, I hear you, and move on. But the more we stay in the moment, the more they go away. My birthday is on Memorial Day. And I have a good friend who threw a party for me, and it was with the old crone. And it talked about the maiden and the mother and the old crone, and it was the best party that anybody had ever done for me. But yeah, you take all of those and they meld together and they become one, and that's when you start tracking true again. And like I said, the best way is just be in the moment. And the more you practice being in the current moment, the easier it is for you to listen to your higher self. And like I said, I teach all of my clients how to do this, especially my hypnosis clients, because when I've seen what I do with these people who have gone through all this trauma, it's like I'm separating their different egos, their mind in different ways. And I have the current person looking back at what happened. And then towards the end of the session, I'm melding it all together. But they're taking each one, the child that was hurt, and bringing it into their heart space. It just takes practice. Everyone can do this. The first step is to learn to live in the moment, stop the negative talk, and ask, what do I need to know? What is in my highest interest?
So how do you stop the negative talk? Like okay, Alex always says the thing he loves about me the most is I'm the most vulnerable. Okay. And I find that this helps me recover or grow rather, as well as have other people know that we're all the same. Okay. So in my vulnerability, I've gained weight. Okay. I told a couple of you. And so part of me beats myself up like, oh my God, Tracy, now you need to fast all day, which I didn't. But I start beating myself up and I have this negative self-talk and it's like I'm frustrated. So how do you shut off that negative self-talk?
Well, when you're going through that loop of negative talk, just stop yourself when you notice you're doing that and ask yourself, why am I doing this? This is detrimental to me. Why am I doing this? And as you start acknowledging this and asking yourself why you are doing this is going to start fading away more and more because you are aware of it. And once you become aware of the negative self-talk, then it will start to dissipate.
Mm.
But ask yourself, why am I doing this to myself? And that stops it right there.
Cool. Thank you. I love that. That's actually very helpful because I've had a hard week. And so thank you for that. Does anybody have questions that they'd like to ask Dr. Janet? Kelly, go ahead.
Not so much a question. It's more of like a comment. And I really resonated, Janet, with Dr. Janet, when you were talking about, you know, when you're in the moment, you know, staying kind of focused. And, you know, Tracy, I've told you this in the past that I really had a hard time meditating in the past. I always felt like, you know, I couldn't make the connection, you know, that I was just sort of like banging my head against the wall and that it was actually causing me, you know, stress. You know, I was getting stressed out trying to de-stress by meditating. And for me, I found that, you know, kind of relieving that pressure was not forcing myself to meditate and getting busy in things like crocheting or knitting or even like when I was driving home back to New Jersey from you know, for Christmas one time, you know, I've had these like major like epiphanies when I wasn't focused on something like that, just with the general you know, thought of like, okay, my higher self, tell me what I need to know when I need to know it. And like I would have these thoughts that would pop into my head that I knew didn't come from what I was doing at the time. I wasn't thinking about those things. And I was like, wow, that really resonated, you know? And I would think about it and I would say, well, why did that happen then? And it was because I wasn't focused on trying to get some like higher understanding of myself. And I just let myself be. And so that allowed those intuitions to come through in a way that I couldn't get it to do when I was trying to focus on those types of things. And I think that's important too, because, you know, I was like the poster girl of like trying so hard to make that connection and thinking something was wrong with me. You know, I was like, well, why can't I do this? Am I not spiritual? Am I broken? Do I not have a soul? Am I an NPC? You know, all those
Well,
things
that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You know, people think that they've got to sit and meditate for a long time and focus. And no, if you can do it for 30 seconds, that's all you need. And what you were talking about, Kelly, as you were driving, that was a form of hypnosis,
yeah.
self-hypnosis. And that's what opens you up in it. But before you got to that state, you were aware of what was going on and you acknowledged it. And once you acknowledge it, then it starts to dissipate. So yeah, you know, you hear, oh, you got to sit there and you've got to meditate a certain way. No, you don't.
Thank you for bringing that up because that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, stop comparing yourself to anyone else.
And that's very valuable, Dr. Janet, extremely valuable, because I've been told through the years with professionals as well, you know, you need to do it this way, and you're a high energy person, so you have a hard time calming the brain down, which I do. And now it just comes easy because I'm not trying. I just do it when I need to. And so thank you. That clarifies for a lot of us that we don't need this ritual. We just need to connect. So that was extremely valuable. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, so do you guys remember when Jenna was on the show? So one thing that I feel is that when we're trying to eliminate something from our life, whether it's a food or a bad habit or whatever, it's really great to crowd it out with something better. So that way you're not creating an energetic void that will just be filled with whatever. So we're being intentional about what we fill that void with. So Dr. Janet just reminded me, so if I have this problem with negative self-talk sometimes, what I need to do is fill that and crowd out the negative with the positive. So remember when Jenna was talking about instead of affirmations, it's better to say something like asking your subconscious a question so it comes up with an answer. So for example, it could be like, how come it is that I'm always feeling so energetic and happy? How come is it that I'm really happy with myself right now? And then that way, do you guys remember all of that? If you haven't, go listen to Jenna's episode, and I have a graphic that is actually underneath the video. Okay, so you can see the graphic that we created in response to her ideas about better than affirmation. So you guys can check it out.
Yeah, as
Okay.
you stay in the moment, that's what you're doing. You're paying attention to what you're doing, and you're living this moment. I mean, really, this is all we have. The current moment, this is all we're promised. This is all we have. And the more we pay attention to it, and the more we are aware, the less all of the monkey chatter is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's what
really
I think
valuable.
multitasking. I think there's multitasking keeps us out of the moment, and that was something I used to do a lot. So I don't multitask anymore. I almost burnt the house down doing that.
Well, in reality, nobody can multitask. It's not possible.
Exactly. I was
What
going
you're
to
doing
say
is
that's one of my
you
pet
might be
peeves.
working on one thing and then you think you're multitasking by doing something else, but you're not. You're focusing on only on one thing at a time. And we try to fool ourselves by saying we multitask.
Yeah, I
And you
agree.
make a lot of mistakes and you make decisions that maybe are not the best decisions, right? Because you're multitasking. I run across that with my students all the time. It's like, stop it. If I'm going to have a conversation with you, stop picking up the text. If I'm going to be on Zoom, stop trying to answer an email at the same time. And some of the younger generation has trouble with that because they're used to, the 20s and 30-year-olds want to be multitasking.
I taught 7th and 8th. Seventh and 8th graders communication skills.
Bless you.
And I taught them communication skills through a grant program. And we would pair up and I would tell them, I want you to listen to the other person, one person talk, and do not sit there thinking about what you want to say next. Hear what they're saying and truly listen to what's being said. And that's what we have to do with ourselves. We have to not be thinking about, well, what am I going to do with this situation or that situation? Let's just concentrate on the current situation, the current moment, because this is where it all starts. And I'm going to tell you, when I started my journey, when I was very little, my mother always said that I would say, all right, come on, Jesus, let's go play. And she thought it was real cute. Well, what she didn't realize was I actually saw him. And I did astral travel when I was a small child. I've done it all my life. And I was told, you can't do this. This is from the devil. I always knew things were going to happen before they happened. And when I started reconnecting with myself again, I had to work hard at it. I really did. I mean, persevere, stick with it. Don't ever give up, because you're never going to get left behind. You're not going to miss out on anything. You're going to get to where you need to get to at the moment that you need to be there and at the right time that you need to be there.
That's great wisdom. Thank you for that. Okay,
Wow.
so we have 5 more questions.
Amazing.
Have time for these? Yeah? Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
Thank you, Tracy, and Dr. Janet. First off, are you in Florida by chance? And how can we possibly get a session with you, or can you help in that? Because I'm fascinated with this. I love the Dolores Cannons and what you do, and even looked into it. But I just wanted to say a couple of things real quick. It is so true, as I found, staying in our present moment is everything. And even when my monkey mind, and as Q and beautiful Tracy has helped us, I don't know if you know about the Q commands, but that helps me so tremendously. I'll never forget the day this monkey mind chatter stopped. and that was because of that. And it was amazing. But also I find that, you know, I check back in as soon as that monkey mind starts, y'all. I check back in with that reality of where I see my future and my happy place and what my reality, everybody's happy and smiling and creating, and you know, so that's where I try and focus right back to. And from my understanding, if we can stay there, that's the whole key. So,
Right.
but thank you for all your beautiful words today and
I
wisdom.
write a blog, and my blog is Mind Body Connection Hypnosis.com. And I write about spirituality, hypnosis, nutrition, and natural health.
Thank you. Well,
And
look
then
at
my
you.
book, Guilty Prayers, is about emotions. They're all true stories. Every story in the book is a true story. And it talks about, for instance, anger. What happens when you let anger get out of control, and how do you get it back into control? So, and you can get that
Good.
anywhere, Amazon, any
Okay.
book company that covers. It's been published in Spanish and actually Chinese, I found out recently. So
Nice. We got a new Chinese group, you guys. Like, we just started a Telegram group for Chinese because we have um that new group about probably about 25. So that's exciting. Okay, Cheryl, go ahead, hon.
Good.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
I just wanted to share, this is more of a thought than anything, and I think ties in that one of the things that's really helped me first thing in the morning, because I don't have a formal meditation kind of practice, but what I do is I actually put the Holy Spirit in charge of my day. And what I find is that if I'm checking into that space periodically, it really helps. And particularly, I think it helps when we are multitasking, because I think we can't avoid it in everyday life, but to really stay in the moment of whatever it is, instead of thinking about, well, okay, I have to go do this in 5 minutes, but it's actually slowing down and focusing in that moment. So anyway, and then I do the same thing at night. I put the Holy Spirit in charge of the nighttime. And that way it kind of keeps the negativity out. Anyway, thank you so much.
That's beautiful, Cheryl. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I do something like that,
Okay.
Cheryl, because I used to do BSF, which is Bible Study Fellowship. I did that probably for 9 years. And I remember the little kids had this little song that they sang. Like, it was something like, "Good morning, God. Today is your day. Show me the way." And so I took that and I elaborated on it and made it bigger about guiding my decisions and helping me, you know, with struggles, as well as, you know, things with going on in my family. And so it seems to help. I also really feel like my words are spirit led, because sometimes when I say things, I'm like, where did that come from? It just fell out of my mouth.
we have to remember that the two most important words you will ever speak are the two words, I am. So be careful what you put behind those two words of I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a structured time on when I sit down and meditate. I find that I'm meditating
I don't
off and
either.
on throughout the whole day, and I meditate at night when I go to bed. But I don't have a, you know, from 1 to 2, I want to meditate or whatever. And you have to kind of be flexible.
So I want to ask you about that words. You said earlier we were talking about words. One of my pet peeves is when somebody says my cancer or my diabetes. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, you really want to own that stuff? And I know that the subconscious mind doesn't hear the word not, or, you know, like, or like, I'm not
Mhm.
going to eat sugar. The subconscious hears eat sugar. So what I have said that I
Change
thought
your
would be
perspective.
a good replacement is, instead of saying someone's sick, I say they're unwell. That way the word un doesn't be heard. It's like the not or I won't. So it's just here's well. What do you think about that?
I think that we have to not even acknowledge the diabetes. Yeah, you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take your insulin or whatever. But when you say someone is unwell, it's still saying that they're not well.
Mm-hmm.
So you just drop it and you say, I am well. I am healthy. It doesn't matter on what your true physical state is, but the more you keep telling yourself, I am healthy, I am energetic, it's going to keep penetrating down deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is why people are able to cure devastating illnesses within themselves, because they don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with melanoma 12 years ago. And it was, I've got a big gap in my left shin now. Somebody says, what happened? A lot of times I'll say, well, I'd like to tell you an interesting story that a shark took a bite out of me in the ocean, but I can't, but I told the oncologist, I said, I'm a natural health doctor and you're going to have to work with me, or I need to find another doctor. He said, I don't have a problem working with you. And the whole time I didn't even acknowledge. I said, I'm healthy, I'm well. And with my protocol that I applied, I mean, they were amazed at my lab work and the fact that I wasn't having any symptoms. I did use interferon because that's a natural substance in your body, only it's given at a more toxic level. I never had any symptoms with it. And it was all because of what I kept saying. I never, and they were just shocked at how quickly my lab work switched over and my PET scans. And it was all because I never acknowledged it. I just kept saying, I am healthy. I am energetic. And this is what I tell myself every day. I say, I am healthy. I am young. I am youthful. And I have all kinds of energy. People are shocked when they really find out what my true age is. My true age is 70. And when people see me in person, they say, my God, you look like you're in your 50s. Well, it's because of what I tell myself, and because I do eat right, and I never smoked, I don't drink alcohol, not because I think it's sin or something. It's just all the sugar and all the junk in it. Who needs it? But I don't, well, on my age, if somebody says, how old are you? I'll say I'm 35 for the second time.
That's awesome. Okay, we have 4 more questions. Let's get through these before you run out of time, Dr. Janet. Jorgen, go for it.
It's just a comment. Thank you, Janet, for all your wise words. It's so amazing. This WoW call. This is WoW. And maybe, Tracy, we could start every call just similar to you question and ask on Friday. Volunteer with you. Listen to yourself. You're beautiful. And so on. We can agree to disagree. And some 2 minutes, maybe we could do that. Or maybe we could get a notification in the app in your future at listen to yourself today. You are good enough and you are beautiful and so on. And I think what Janet had teach us today it's always nice to different kind of perspective, but the quantum equation 7 main key is very powerful to get present for me, but combine it with your teaching, there are several ways to get present very soon or very quickly, I think. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome,
I appreciate
Thank
your
you,
comment.
Jorgen.
Okay, Trudy. Oh, wait, sorry, Marianne.
I think as I listened today to everything that's been said, that probably my best solution is hypnosis. Um, I'm not sure how to go about getting that because I live in a very small town and in the woods, and there it would be a travel to find someone. Um, my challenge, I'm not sick, I'm not underweight, but I have a challenge, and that is about 25 pounds worth of weight that I would like to gain, that I think my body would be happier if I could gain that. And so I have a history of it. As a child, I never wanted to eat. I always wanted to play. And my parents were always trying to get me to eat. And I had food allergies when I was a child. I outgrew them all. But I just wasn't interested unless it was sweet. And they didn't give me a lot of sweets. I just didn't have access to very much in the way of sweets. So I just ate as little as I could and please my mother. And I've always
The
been,
question is you need to ask yourself, do you really need that 25 pounds?
I think I do. When I put
But
my,
but ask your body, what
Well,
your mind
Yeah.
says and what your
my
body
body
says might be
tells
two
me,
different things.
not in words, but in feel. When I put my arms around myself for that self hug, I feel bones. And that does not feel good. I feel like I need more. I need to have more flesh on me.
Actually, I have written an article about that in my blog.
Oh,
Can you forward it to me and then I'll send it to her? Because I was having an email conversation with her already. Right, Mary, you're the one that emailed me, right?
Well, just go to my blog, mindbodyconnectionhypnosis.com, and it's in one of the archives, and they're under nutrition.
I will certainly look at that.
So
Sure.
let's talk about that though, since you
Okay.
brought that up and I asked you to come here and ask the question. So essentially, calories, hormones, activity, it's a variable concept. But if you want to put on lean mass, which when we want to gain weight, we don't want to gain fat per se, we want to gain lean mass.
Yes.
So I've done so many exercise videos that are all on the playlist. And I recommend anybody who doesn't exercise regularly start with the chair videos because then you're safe and you're protected. And, you know, even those can be hard for certain people. So allowing yourself grace to work through it, but also getting adequate protein. Eggs are the most highly absorbable protein, gram per gram of protein. 49% of an egg actually gets utilized in the amino acids for your body, which is like meat, chicken, fish, is only 32%. Okay. So the next highest from eggs is breast milk, and that's still only at 50%. Okay. So you want to get adequate protein so that you can build the lean mass up. I find that when we undereat, this is a big distinction. Okay. When we undereat, our body's job is to keep us alive. And when we don't eat, that's why these fad diets don't work, because your body will just
Mhm.
and hold on. When you don't give it enough of what it needs, it holds on to everything. So a year ago, I lost 10 pounds by eating more. I added more protein to my diet and I lost weight because now my body's like, oh, she's giving me everything I need so I can take what I want, build the lean tissue, and release the rest. So when we undereat, that doesn't happen. So I recommend eating more fat and more protein and healthy vegetables, you know, right, eat with the season. So like right now you can get really good winter squashes, root vegetables, and not being afraid of eating like fatty cuts of meat. You know, I love eggs. I eat 3 eggs and avocado every day. That's my first meal.
Tracy, you're describing exactly how I eat.
Well, then you need to eat more and move and do lean workout. Like do the weights, the
Yep.
strength training. So I start with the chair. There's band workouts that you can do at home. But I also feel like if somebody's losing weight for unexplained reasons, like if you're under eating, then that's a logical explanation. But I do feel like if anybody's losing weight for unexplained reasons, they need to go get a checkup find out what underlying factor is creating this unexplained weight loss. Okay.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
But if you want,
Thank you, Miriam, for bringing that up.
I would like to reemphasize too, you were talking about getting a hypnosis session. You can Google hypnotists close to where you live. But if anybody tries to tell you they'll do hypnosis over Zoom or over the telephone, run away from them.
what state are you in, Dr.
I'm in
Janet?
Hot Springs, Arkansas,
Woo!
and National Park. We have the thermal water energy, and we have the best crystal energy in the world. Hot Springs, our crystals around here are renowned worldwide. There are 3 large crystals worldwide. One is in Brazil, one is in Peru, and the other is in Arkansas. And the one in Arkansas is the largest of the 3. It's 180 miles long. It's about 80 miles wide and 25 miles deep. So you have all of this energetic energy here that is so wonderful. And this is why a lot of people in the metaphysical world gravitate towards Hot Springs. But Hot Springs has the purest and most renowned crystals in the world.
Wow.
Or Arkansas does.
Wow,
Please
that's amazing.
Tell us again your blog so that I can.
It's all one word: mind, body, connection, hypnosis.
I put it in the chat as well.
I just put it in the chat right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Trudy, go for it.
Remember when this Japanese doctor talked to the water and the water?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So another thing, when you pull lies that you've been believing for a long time about yourself, okay, and you replace it with the positive things about yourself. So I did this a while ago, and I had to think about what are the good things that people say about me, and what are the things that I think I'm good at. Like if you're going to do a job interview and you're going to go in there and you're going to say, you know, what are your strengths? You know, what do you like to do and things, you know, focus. I have people focus on those things, write them down and look at all of them. And every day, you know, I am this, I am hopeful. I am a person of quality. I am a person that's a hard worker. I'm, you know, all of those things. And it quiets all that negativity in your brain, for one thing. And another thing is, a while ago, there was a lady that came on a Vibe Tribe call, and she didn't have a device. So her friend cut out a picture of the QT device, and she started wearing it. And she constantly got more consciousness and things. So it's the same with words. You know, so if you're speaking to water negativity and the water's changing, imagine what it is when negative words are coming at you. So wear positive words. I bought a shirt the other day that says blessed on it. I have a shirt that has all the positive words like hope and love and all of those. And when I wear that shirt, not only do I feel better, but people notice it and they go, I love your shirt. You know, because people gravitate towards those positive frequencies. Basically, they're all frequencies. So that's all I wanted to say. I mean, and then you can quiet yourself to that point.
Well, and remember that your body is 90% water.
Right.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Thanks, Trudy. That's great.
Trudy. Okay, we have 2 more things. Kelly's going to ask the last question, then Dr. Gloria is going to share what recipe's going out tomorrow. Okay, Kelly.
So I actually did think of a good question. So years and years and years ago, I used to smoke and I wanted to quit. And so I went to one of those like I guess, hypnotherapy sessions or whatever. And at the end of it, the hypnotherapist said, "Oh, you're not able to be hypnotized." And so that's kind of stayed with me all this time. And I know that there are different levels of somnolence for hypnotherapy, but so I've never tried to do hypnotherapy again because I have this belief that I'm not able to be hypnotized. So what are your thoughts on that? Just very quickly. I know we're running out of time.
He was incompetent to tell you that. He set you up for failure. Anyone who wants to be hypnotized can be hypnotized. I just recently had a former classmate that came to me for hypnosis, and she'd been twice, 2 other ones. And she said, "I can't be hypnotized." I said, "Do you want to be?" And she said, "Yes." We did the session and she was shocked. And she said that her life was it was just totally different, her life afterwards. And yes, I mean, most of the thing when people come to me want smoking cessation or alcohol or whatever, if they tell me my wife or my husband or my spouse or somebody wants me to quit, I'll say, "Do you want to quit?" And they'll say no. And I said, "Then we're not going to do it because you don't want to be hypnotized. If you don't want to quit, you're not going to quit. Nothing's going to make you quit. So when you're ready, let me know." But my clients, I've never done more than 1 hypnosis session for smoking cessation or alcoholism or whatever. And they'll ask me, they'll say, "Well, how many sessions?" Well, most hypnotists will tell you 3 to 5 sessions. I tell them, "I don't know. We'll see." I don't want to set them up with that belief that they've got to have several sessions before it works. I set them up with the belief that they can do it right then.
That's great. Thank you so much. You've been great. I love this episode.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. I
Yes,
appreciate
it's been
all
great,
of you.
Dr. Janet. Wonderful,
Dr.
wonderful
Janet.
guidance here.
I feel like I need to go to Arkansas now, darn it.
Please do. Please do. It's the energy here is amazing. When I went to work for Tesla Biohealing, I was in Pennsylvania for 6 weeks doing a major renovation for a 150-bed hotel for a med center there. And then I went to East Dubuque, Illinois to do the same thing. And the energy in that area up there, it's not real good. The closer you get to New York and Washington, D.C., the more negative and heavy and intense. And then I was back in Milford
and scattered
for a few months. And
so it's very scattered energy, isn't it?
I opened up the center here. It was like, I told everybody, it was like Dorothy. She told Toto, "There's no place like home." So Arkansas for me,
but that's so
no place
true.
like home because of all of the
I'm very
energies
sensitive to energies. I never thought I'd end up in Texas. I hate heat and humidity. And where am I? Because the energy is good here for me. So you're right. I want to make a comment, Tracy and Dr. Janet. I have seen the largest crystal in Peru and in Brazil. And they told me, I was in awe because I was with a group of doctors. And they said, "Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. You have to go to Arkansas." I never knew anybody from Arkansas at the time.
All of these crystals are underground. They are so deep underground that they will never be mined.
Is that right? Okay. So the energy comes from the ground. That's why they're not mining them.
Grounded.
Well, we mine a lot of crystals around here.
You can feel the energy.
We mine a lot of crystals around here, but these 3 large crystals that I just talked about, none of them will ever be mined because they're deep in the earth. And they're all connected energetically.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Well, I just want to honor you and thank you
you
so much for sharing with us. I feel like we could keep going and going and going for hours. I know that you have so much wisdom, so I'd love to have you back sometime.
Thank you. It would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure.
Thank you.
We could do a road trip to Arkansas.
Yeah, we
I
could.
saw that necessity. I'm like, hey,
that's absolutely right.
A little too far for.
We can hire a bus and everybody can get on.
We can all go.
Have a party on the way.
I want to come with from Denmark too.
You can fly in, or you can.
I should be in Copenhagen. I should have been there a long time ago.
Well, you can get direct
Okay,
flights
Tracy,
from
go ahead.
Dallas to Hot Springs, so.
And that's
I will-
close to you guys. So
Yeah.
awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so the recipe, do you don't remember what recipe it is this week?
Yes, I think it's the color similar to what I'm wearing, right? It's the
Let's
red
see.
sauce. Yeah, I had to pull up my chart because I never remember to do that before the show. I believe it's the red sauce. Am I correct? See, she has to look it up
Right,
too, so
red
I'm
sauce.
not going to apologize. Right. So just remember that the red
Look it
sauce.
up. I was playing with
I
the
have
spreadsheet
7 or
earlier
8.
today.
Oh, I have 7 or 8 versions of a red sauce, so that all of you don't think there's just one way of making a sauce without tomatoes or without peppers. Remember that my expertise, my passion is teaching you how to cook without nightshades and ingredients that ignite inflammation. So this red sauce, I really, as your homework, would like to know who makes it and your feedback, because you can use it on anything you would use a red sauce. Spaghetti, lasagna. Of course, I make my lasagna with zucchini. I don't make it with noodles because I'm diabetic. And so just your homework is look at the recipe, make what you can, a pizza, whatever you want to make with it. Meatloaf, it's amazing. You just have to understand that whatever you're doing, it's going to be a little different. If you're making a meatloaf and you want sweet and sour, add a little bit of vinegar, okay? Because you need that sugar taste, which I use monk fruit. So tomorrow you're going to get the recipe for the red sauce, and please give us some feedback so that we know how you like it. There's others coming as well. Tracy's frozen again. Her internet connection is on and off usually, and she's frozen again. That's a great picture. Somebody should snap that. You were
Too late,
totally
it's already
frozen. It
off.
was really cute.
It was like,
Yeah, it was cute though.
Okay, so your
Okay,
homework.
Tracy,
Thank
take it
you
away.
for
Thank
saying
you,
that.
everybody.
So my homework assignment to you is actually going to be a combination of what Dr. Janet and Trudy suggested. So the goal here is to write a list of all your positive attributes and keep it with your vision statement, with your journal. And the reason is because when you feel down or when you want to build yourself up on a daily basis, you are going to say, I am, and all these things. And you are not, Gloria, I'm calling you out. You are not going to say something like, I am diabetic. Okay, I am.
I know I caught myself when I said it. Thank you. You are
I'll
what?
catch you. I have to be careful who
No,
I
I
correct
caught
on
myself.
that, but I'll correct you.
No, you can correct me
She's like Dr.
anytime,
Mom.
but yes, I caught myself. Thank you. I'm Dr. Mom, so it's okay.
So
So
She's
one of
freezing
the
again.
things
for
that
your
they
homework
say is
assignment, and I
they
need
want
to
you
do
to do
that.
it at night too. Like before you go to bed, you say those things that you know you are before you go to sleep.
Yes.
And then in the morning, get up and do it again. And if you do that for 60 days, it is like solidified in your brain and in
Do
your
Yes.
it
heart.
throughout the day. Do it
Yep.
throughout the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Not a
I
certain
like that
times only.
idea. Also, know what you can do is I've seen this done before, but here's another fun little thing. Get your water glass or something that you like to drink water out of. You guys know I use these big jars. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Post-it notes and I'm going to write I am and then whatever I want to add. And then I'm going to put it on my jar and I'm going to cover it with some tape, just some clear tape so it stays on my jar. And then my water, I'm going to give it a swirl so it adds a little bit of the restructuring process. Then it's going to also have that beautiful crystalline forms because it's going to absorb the energy from the words I put on here. Okay, so next week I want to see your
That's
vessels,
great.
those of you who take this challenge. All right, you guys, it is 12:30 almost. I just want to, let's close with our usual closing, bringing your hands to your forehead. May you think only joyful thoughts to your lips. May you speak only kind words and to your heart space. May you show love to yourself and to all those around you. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
I
Thank
just
you.
love all of you.
Dr. Janet, yes, that was amazing, Dr. Janet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you for
Thank
those
you so
words.
much, Dr. Janet. Steph has a quick question. I'm not sure if she's going to want you to leave yet. Where'd you go, Steph? Oh, maybe not.
You're muted, Steph.
I was waving by and it raised my hands.
Oh, got you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
you guys. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Thank you,
Dr.
everybody.
Janet. Have a
Everyone.
beautiful day, everyone. Mwah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.